Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Dodge this.
Nathaniel, we've covered some pretty serious movies over the course of our having a podcast, right? We've recently covered The Great Escape, Come and See. We've watched Grave of the Fireflies, and we've discussed The Iron Claw. All very serious movies, but I think that we can safely call those movies dog shit in comparison to the movie that we are about to discuss. Right? Am I right or am I right, Nathaniel Lirio?
I want to go along with the bit. I want to be a fun-go-lucky person that makes our audience laugh and go along with this funny bit. But this movie was so god-awful. It was so upsetting and horrendous that I can't even follow the bit, Jeffrey, successfully because we watched Doogal.
See, but here's the thing, right? Have you considered that maybe that feeling of revulsion is precisely what the artist wanted you to feel?
I think it might have been. I mean, it was Harvey Weinstein that produced this. I think, the piece of garbage he is, he probably was like, you know what? I want to take a beloved British film or French film or whatever it was. I'm going to redub it and make it horse shit. Just so Americans can have a worse off time.
It's all for the art.
Truly.
All for the art. Anyhow, folks, this is the Holy Moment Podcast. I am your host today, Jeffrey Nichols, joined here by my lovely co-host, Nathaniel Lirio. And this is the podcast where we watch movies with you and discuss the moments that work, the moments that don't, and the moments that reflect truth in unexpected ways. We're talking about Doogal. We're talking about Doogal today.
I love this seriousness. Also, great job. I have such a hard time figuring out how to open up the podcast without immediately starting with, hello, welcome to Holy Mo Podcast, blah, 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 blah. So you did a good job of making it not the first thing out of your mouth. And I applaud you for that.
Thank you. I try sometimes. I'd fail sometimes as well, but sometimes I do okay. Anyhow, Doogal. Who here has heard of Doogal? Raise their hands.
I didn't know I did until I watched this movie, but I'll get into it.
Let me tell y'all a story about my first experience with Doogal. And for some context, the category that this movie belongs to is Vega's pick, right? Vega was one of the first co-hosts that we had. We had 3 initially, and then due to other commitments, he had to drop, right? But we still honor his legacy by allowing him to pick movies for us to watch for each season.
And after this movie, it's been revoked.
We'll see. Listen, this is a work of art, Nathaniel. Maybe we should give him 2 picks, right? for the both of us. Anyhow, Vega and I have a very interesting relationship with this movie because we both saw this movie as kids, right? And it left an indelible imprint on our minds. In his case, I think he saw it as bizarre as it was, but in my case, I really loved it. I don't know why. I didn't remember anything about it coming into it the second time. That I just remember that opening of "Oh, oh, oh, it's magic," and it's a good song, right? And I fell in love with that song, and then I associated the feelings that I had watching, listening to that song with the rest of the movie, and perhaps that was a mistake. But I don't know. I'm seeing it again for the second time and with new eyes, with adult eyes, and that's allowing me to appreciate the artistry in a way that I wasn't able to as a kid.
I like that sentence, with adult eyes. What else have you seen recently with adult eyes, Jeffrey?
I don't know. What rating is this podcast? Like PG-13? I don't think I can say.
Oh, no.
Anyway, yeah. We rewatched Doogal. I did, but this is Nathaniel's first experience with it. What were your first impressions upon the movie beginning?
Well, fun fact. This apparently was not my first rewatch. So Vega and Jeffrey kind of talked about the mythicality that Doogal. Also, to rewind, I don't have any memory of Doogal. I didn't know it existed, but our friend Vega back in college, I think junior or senior year, he went back home during the summer, and I don't know, we were FaceTiming or something, but it became iconic that he has this big movie poster of an animated Doogal on his wall in his bedroom. This 24-year-old currently in his bedroom has as the poster of Doogal. And so that's like what it existed in my brain was Vega's bedroom movie poster. So I didn't know anything about it. So these two talked about it in a mythicality way. And when I sat down and watched it 2 nights ago, I unlocked core memories that were buried underneath McDonald's and trauma and more McDonald's. And it was that, in fact, I have seen Doogal and did not know it. There are a handful of movies. I'm sure all of us can relate to this. There's like 4 movies that are like so deeply ingrained in me that they're just like flashes of images on my like cerebral cortex. And I cannot remember the plot. I cannot remember what's going on. Often I can just recall like one image. And I've spent years searching for these 4 movies and I couldn't find them. For this movie, I just was ingrained in my brain that there were 2 guys that looked alike and one controlled ice and one controlled heat. And that's it. Nothing else. I was not prepared that these 2 freaking weird ass things were little spring gumballs that shot lava and ice out of their mustaches. I didn't remember that as a kid. Wasn't important apparently to 5-year-old Nathaniel. But when I was watching this movie, I didn't remember Dougal. I didn't remember the cow. I didn't remember the weird ass penis slug. I didn't remember the rabbit that was high the whole time. None of them. I just remembered bouncy ball spring guys, but I didn't even remember that. I just remembered that they were good and bad and cold and hot. And as I was watching the movie, I was like, what, something's weirdly familiar. And just, it was about a third of the way through the movie that it just dawned on me. It's like, this is the movie I've been searching for 15 years. And I finally did it. I found it. And it wasn't worth it.
This movie just creates core memories for people, I guess. Right? That's its superpower. And it's super in no other respect, is what a plebeian would say, right? Is what a peasant would. That's the opinion of a peasant, right?
What a great superpower to be a core memory in everyone's life. Like they don't remember who you are. Like imagine you just go get on a bus to go to work tomorrow. And you just, for the rest of your life, like, there's this guy. He was so remarkable, but I don't remember anything really about him. He just is burned in my retinas. And that's your superpower. You're just like a core memory, but no one knows who you are.
That would make for an interesting story, like a short film or short story or novel or just film in general. I know there's a book called The Incredible Life of Addie LaRue, I think. And the basic premise is she is immortal, right? She's lived throughout the centuries, but as the price of her immortality, if you look away from her, you immediately forget that you ever interacted with her.
A D&D podcast campaign I listened to did a extremely similar bit where he had this ability to, for a split second, be known by everyone in the entire universe, but then was immediately forgotten. But he was so sad was forgotten, he then caused 9/11 in this universe. And so that's my whole story about that.
Is this the One Piece
Yeah.
D&D?
Go listen to Rustage's One Piece D&D Marines, and you can learn about this character.
I haven't seen it yet, but I will. I promise. But
see, this is much better.
I mean,
Let's talk about other stuff than Dougal. Like, name an object and let's talk about that.
No, but like what we're talking about are things that are derivative of Dougal, right?
All things come from Dougal. Dougal is the source material. You know how they say all art has been taken and no one has a new thought? All new thoughts expressed from Dougal.
Yeah. It's like the wellspring from which all creativity flows.
It is the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, but that begs the question, what is Dougal? What is creating all of the core memories for people? Well, it's a very simple story, folks. A fairy tale, if you will, about a dog, right? The ugliest dog that you've ever seen, right?
Biggest piece of shit
with
you've ever
human
heard.
teeth. Yeah, he is narcissistic, he's selfish, and well, I guess I'll get to that in a second. Through his selfishness and narcissism and complete and utter disregard for those around him, he ends up releasing an ice wizard from this magical carousel, right? Whose mission in life is to freeze the entire world, right? And he has a good wizard counterpart that sends Dougal and his band of misfits on a journey to acquire 3 diamonds with which he can seal the ice wizard forever back into the carousel, right? But if the ice wizard finds it first, he's going to freeze the world. And what makes the stakes all the higher is his best friend, Florence, right? is trapped in that carousel. And she's going to freeze to death if he doesn't do something. And he doesn't really do anything. He doesn't do much. He lets everyone else do things for him. Or that's how he is, at least in the beginning. He's kind of useless.
He doesn't do anything the entire movie. The core moral of the story is Florence needs better friends. Dougal's
Florence
a piece
needs
of garbage.
to be a better friend, right? Because, listen, she tells him, it's not your fault, Dougal. Remember, right? You didn't cause this. Bitch! What do you mean you didn't cause this?
He literally caused, like, the end of the world.
Directly responsible for this. And I liked the line the snail gave to Dougal.
You mean the
later.
wiggling penis?
The wiggling penis when he says, hey, Dougal, don't feel guilty just because you are the sole cause of everything that has happened, right? The snail was spitting bars, right? Those are
also
pure facts. Is what a plebeian would say, right? Without media literacy, if they weren't able to understand the movie, they would make those critiques, but I wouldn't.
Never. And speaking of people with media literacy and not ignorant, I'm not just making a joke of a wiggling penis on the ground as ha ha ha. You got to watch this animation. You got to watch how the artist at work crafted truly they drew frames that are so beyond our comprehension that they made a snail look like a wiggling penis.
It's very unsettling to watch, and which was the intent of the artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
He wanted us to feel perturbed so that we would reflect on our own. That's a word.
Yeah, it's a great word. I think it's a fun word. It's perturbed.
It's one of my favorites actually. I wish more people would use it. But yeah, I mean, it's to have us reflect on our own like weakness and penis likeness.
I don't know, but Dougal did not. I guess I'm not media literacy, but Dougal did not make me reflect on my penis likeness.
It all comes back to Freud, right?
I thought it all came back to Dougal.
Freud comes from Dougal.
Yeah,
he saw this movie and was like, I should be the founder of modern psychology. Anyway, yeah, this movie, right? I actually thought the opening was kind of cool, right? The icy handprint on the stone. I thought that was a cool image. But then Zebedee wakes from his dream. He's the good wizard. He's like, that's weird. Let's move on to the next thing, right?
And it was so quick, too. I agree with you. I actually, like, the opening was interesting. Not only interesting, I was like, hey, the animation is different, but not horrendous and gross. Because it's opening this snowy alpine, and these two spring gumball weird guys are fighting with lava and ice. And it's kind of cool. But it lasts for 0.2 seconds, and then Zebedee wakes up, and I'm like, whoa, that was not enough time to even establish we were in a dream.
Yeah, no, exactly. They didn't sit with the moment. And this issue crops up again later in the film at a moment that should be dramatic, but isn't. And we'll talk about it later for sure. But I think also Z-Bad's voice is a bit distracting, right? And you may find it familiar. It's because he's voiced by a famous late night show host, Jon Stewart.
He was my favorite part. I actually thought his voice was the best voice. I thought he was the best voice actor in the whole movie.
Interesting. That's an interesting point of contention. Well, you're right, because this movie's perfect. But Jimmy Fallon voices the bunny.
Yep.
He's another late night host.
It was all stars. It was all like big blockbuster names. It's weird.
Bill Hader as the soldier Sam, Ian McKellen as Zebedee, which I'm excited to talk about that. John Krasinski is the little shopkeeper who's sabotaged so cruelly by Doogal at the beginning of the movie, right? Who sets a nail on the road so that his tire will pop. He's a menace. We both said that the same. That's incredible. We're on the same wavelength.
Okay, say the same word on 3. 1, 2, 3. Perturbed.
Scooter.
Okay. Well, that's over.
I should have known. What we had for a moment was very special.
And
right?
It derives
That's what
from
makes
Google.
fireworks so beautiful, is they end, right? But we...
like this podcast should right now, because we're reviewing Doogal. Sorry, I feel like you're trying to host so well, and every attempt you make, I'm like, no.
No, I love it. I love this attention here. So like we have you who first we have me who loves art, and then we have you who hates art, right? And so
It's like
having this back
we're
and forth.
Zebedee and Zubob, whatever his name is.
Z-Bad, yeah, but close enough.
They put bad in his name. That's hilarious.
Z, that's really stupid. Anyway, speaking of the voice cast, right? This movie is interesting because Doogal is an American movie, right? Wrong. See, originally it was The Magic Roundabout, and it was adapted from a British TV show that came out in the 70s. The TV show was done in stop motion, though. And The Magic Roundabout movie, it had a British cast. They're speaking English. And so that begs the question, why didn't they just send the British version over to America? Because surely kids would have understood. They're speaking English. Well, but I guess the Americans figured, well, I mean, we deserve something special, right? Let's give us our own version of Doogal. And I've heard that the American dub is as different from the British dub as the English dub of Ghost Stories, the anime, is to the Japanese. Which, if you don't know the story, folks, it's a pretty drastic change. There was an anime that came out in Japan that was unremarkable in every way, right? Did not get a lot of fans or a following of any kind. And so when Japan sent it over to America, they gave the American translators free reign to do whatever they wanted with the dub. And do whatever they wanted is what they did, right? And what resulted was a beautiful, raunchy, very off-color work of art, right? Which is so this is basically Ghost Stories. It's that story, told again, except this was done so much better, right?
And it inspired the Ghost Stories.
And it inspired Freud, and it inspired Ghost Stories, and it inspired Oppenheimer, and it inspired Titanic. There's really no end of the we're talking about the inspirations of Total Recall in that episode, right? How it introduces the idea of the red and the blue pill, right? And that influences the Matrix. The Matrix references Doogal. There are literally lines in the Matrix that it took from Doogal.
I think this is factual. I think this checks out.
Okay, breaking character for a bit. We have to talk about the pop culture references. What were your reactions to them, Nathaniel?
At first, it was just it was just misplaced. Okay. I'll talk about this in a sec. But just to go back to what you were saying about the whole, it was originally a British and then the Americans redubbed it. I really wanted to, because this is a really short movie. It's literally an hour and 1 minute long. Very short. I think they cut a little bit. I think the British is 110, but still a very short movie. I wanted to watch I wanted to double feature them back to back because it's ultimately the same animation, but with it being pretty different of a story relatively with the dialogue. I really wanted to see how they kept the same action beats, because I have a lot to say about that and how they're horrible and how they justify it just with different dialogue. I'm interested. Is it simply just they took out all of the references and all the fart jokes? If that's all they did, then the British movie's still pretty ass, but it's a little bit better. But I'm curious if it's actually quite a bit of a different story.
Well, one thing, I wasn't able to watch both either, but one thing I did learn: the moose never talks in the British version.
That makes sense.
And never farts either, right? It's just not a joke. And you can. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was just going to say there's a Letterboxd review that just says I'm giving this 5 stars because the moose farted 9 times. And I thought that was beautiful. Also, I bet you the British one didn't have a voiceover, I assume. Because there's a narrator that comes on every once in a while, and you can tell, this narrator isn't originally here. This feels very spoon-fed.
That was a very astute observation. Yeah, there was no narrator as well.
It's called media literacy, Jeffrey.
Of course, you're catching on. No, so there were two actors actually that kept their roles from the British movie. Can you guess which?
I know it's Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen.
Because I saw that on Letterboxd. I don't remember the other one, though.
I think it was Florence.
Oh, wow. Because she had so many lines.
Yeah.
All that she did was get stuck in a carousel and almost die. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish that they had maybe built up their relationship a little more, Doogal and Florence. Made us feel for them more. But
I wish they would have pulled a Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh yeah. Oh, combining her with Doogal.
Yeah, that would have been great.
I can't imagine Doogal being any uglier. I don't know.
He's more horrifying than the dog from Full Metal Alchemist. That's amazing.
Oh, no.
The best part about the difference is, the sad thing is, that dog gets killed. Unfortunately, Florence and Dougal are still alive at the end of this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I don't know. I would use wait, unfortunately. You said unfortunately they're still alive. I would agree with that.
yeah, I wish they were killed. But to answer your question from a minute ago, like, at first I was a little like taken aback, like with the pop culture references, but then it just like started to wear on me. Like, at no point did I find that they were clever or funny. I also was like, who are they for? Because arguably, if you're watching this as a 4 to 7 or 8-year-old, you're not going to get 99% of them, if any of the pop culture references. Is this movie supposed to kind of be for adults? When they redubbed it, because you have that whole montage in the credit scenes where you see all the actors voicing their lines, you can tell it's like a fun time. Were they trying to like make it kind of into an adult type raunchy-ish movie? Like could adults could enjoy it as well? Just like, who were they for? They weren't for anyone. They just felt so forced, and it just feels like the most disrespectful way of doing film. Like, I'm not going to say The Magic Roundabout was this amazing British piece of cinema, but you got to say, like, they probably put a lot of effort and they cared about the story. And for Weinstein to take it over as the producer and just like slap all of these gimmicky fart jokes and references, it just seems like a slap in the face of art and storytelling. Like, it really grinded my gears.
Yeah, and the lip flaps don't match the American dub very well at all. And when you see those moments, it just makes the whole project feel a lot cheaper than it was. Yeah, I mean, it's just so low effort. I think that it was doing something to bring it back to Ghost Stories, right? Where they're giving it a bit of edge. I think that they did want to give the parents something to laugh at alongside the kids, right? Things that are supposed to go over the kids' heads. But it was done incredibly lazily, right? Especially in the skeleton scene. That's where we get the most pop culture references in succession,
Yeah.
right? Here's Johnny. There is no spoon. And then one of the skeletons straight up says, Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's not even a reference. He just like says the name of it. Like, it's not like a line or anything. Yeah, it was weird.
Feels like a placeholder. Like, were they supposed to write a different joke about Pirates of the Caribbean and they just forgot?
The voice actor said, "I'm not coming in for another day of this. This is garbage."
But yeah, that scene follows the lava scene, which follows, I think, a big moment that I'd like to discuss, right? That fight scene between Z-Bad and Zebedee was pretty badass.
It was okay. Now I can put all jokes aside. I did not like this movie. I thought this movie was garbage. This is not me joking. That fight scene was kind of sick. Like, what the heck? Why was that so good? I don't understand. Like the two wizards finally reunite after a millennia. And again, Jeffrey, why do they shoot their powers out of their mustaches? It's so,
I don't know.
Like, who made that? Who made that choice? And I need to know if it's
in
the
the
same
moment
in the
it was
British.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that it's never played for kicks. Like, these are serious badass guys that are going to kill each other. But yeah,
This is what it feels like. Yeah, it feels like the animators wanted to animate an action movie, but they were forced to animate a kids movie.
Yeah,
You know?
It felt very, not just anime, it felt very Dragon Ball Z-esque. How they flew up into the sky and flipped around and shot lasers at each other. I genuinely was really impressed. It is almost my holy moment. But something else much, much more impactful happened in the last half of that movie that I'll get into during my holy moment. But that fight scene, all jokes aside, our fans, kind of badass, kind of went hard, kind of like, what the heck? This is awesome.
I was actually going to ask you, Nathaniel, in lieu of one of our reels, could you just make an AMV out of that scene?
Yes. But now I'm going to make you re-say that so I can clip that and then go into the AMV. So to just ask me to do it again.
All right, Nathaniel, I was wondering if in lieu of editing another reel, right? You just make an AMV out of that fight scene
That's beautiful.
with Zebedee and Z-Bad.
I would love to. Okay. Now yeah, that's right, you guys. You listen to the actual episode, you get to hear the behind the scenes. Now say that again, but make it a lot shorter. Just be like, can you make an AMV out of this? Or something just short and punchy and snappy.
Yeah. Nathaniel, can you make an AMV out of the fight scene between Z-Bad and Zebedee?
That's perfect. Okay. And now last one. Have you seen all of the reels of oh my gosh, why am I blanking on who's like the most famous podcaster? He used to be an M&A fighter.
Joe Rogan?
Yeah, Joe Rogan. Do you know all the clips where they play like the same thing where it's like, hey, blah blah blah, can you pull up that clip? And then they pull up a clip, but it's like this. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You should
I think
say
so.
like, hey Nathaniel, pull up that badass clip of the fight.
Hey, Nathaniel, pull up that clip of Zebedee and Z-Bad going at it.
Perfect. Now I'm gonna cut to, because I also want to bring this up. The fight was awesome, but at the end of the fight, they again, guys who haven't seen this movie, these aren't human beings with mustaches. Take a coil, like the big coils that are your car suspension. Okay, you put it vertical. Now take a big gumball. One's red, one's blue. Put it on top of the coil, and now put a mustache on both of them and big googly eyes, and that's what they look like. In the fight scene, they come together and smash their coils together so they get intertwined. And they fucked. I don't know what else to say.
That did look very intimate.
If
I were a weird gumball coil thing, I would not let someone get so entangled in my coil unless I had been taken on a few dates at least.
It's the equivalent of in Avatar. You know how like they have sex with their hair? Their hair like goes into each other's hair. It's literally the same thing, but with coils.
And they did it with no protection.
Okay, we need to get out of here immediately.
Okay. I will say, about that scene, like the aftermath, Zebedee ends up sacrificing his life to save them. They're at this mountain top, and he ends up falling right off of this cliff to his death. And the like his friends, Doogal and the rabbit and the others, have to leave him behind. Right? It's very sad. It's very sorrowful. It's very Lord of the Rings, right? You know the scene of Gandalf the Grey facing off against the Balrog, and the Balrog, whips him and slings him down. And he says, "Run, you fools!" And he drops. I had that thought listening to this. This is the Lord of the Rings right now. This is that moment. And then later, when I learned that it was Ian McKellen who played Gandalf, that made the scene so much better. And it also makes more sense of the Lord of the Rings pop culture references that they were making in that moment. Maybe the American dubbers saw the connections there and were trying to riff off of that.
I mean, as we said, all things stream from Doogal. Lord of the Rings, Doogal.
Doogal, yeah.
It makes me
Tolkien
sad.
watched Doogal and then wrote The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
Dougal walks so Tolkien can run. It makes me sad to draw this comparison because Ponyo, the Miyazaki film, is one of my favorite films of all time, but also kind of similar premise. You have ancient magic stored away. One is a wizard in a merry-go-round, and one is a mermaid in the ocean protected by another wizard. And then something sets one free, and then they just catastrophe. One is a blizzard, and one is like a tsunami. And so, kind of similar. But I will not say, because I am a man of honor, I will not say that Ponyo was influenced by Dougal.
I don't know. I think that when the facts are there,
Jeffrey,
right,
I will come castrate you.
Sometimes you just gotta.
Oh gosh. If this is the best episode we've ever done, email us at theholymomentpodcast@gmail.com and send us pictures of the snail that looks like a penis to Jeffrey.
Please do. And I'd be made very happy. Anyway, I also could have sworn, speaking about Zebedee and Z-Bad, I had this memory coming into this movie. I could have sworn that Z-Bad, his heart gets warm and he sort of melts into the normal, whatever Zebedee is, whatever their species is, right? I could have sworn that he turns red. Maybe that's racist of me.
It's just the Choctaw in you hoping everyone.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy. Well, I was thinking Jack Frost in the Santa
Yeah.
Claus movies, right? Doesn't that happen to him? His heart gets warm and he melts into a brunette.
Isn't that what happens to all of us when we fall in love? We melt into a brunette.
Yeah, like he turns into just like a little car salesman.
Don't tell my
guy.
wife. I still have black hair. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, instead of like turning into a good guy, he gets put back into a carousel, which he deserves. He ripped the heart out of a toy soldier. Which also,
Yes.
did he? Granted, I won't lie, but into the movie, I don't know if I was really fully paying attention. Does the toy soldier like get revived?
He gets revived. Yeah.
Okay,
And then
okay,
he's put
good.
back in his spot on the carousel. But I think that the difference, because I don't think he was alive prior to.
So they gave him sentience, ripped out his heart, and then took his sentience away. Very good.
Yeah. So what happened there was Zebad gave him life and then took that life out of him, killed him essentially. Zebedee revived him and then essentially enslaved him and entrapped him like in the carousel. Like you cannot move from this spot, right? You are what you always were, right? But this time you can feel every moment and understand that this is your lot in life for eternity, right? Because I don't think he can move. I don't think he can leave the carousel. I think his job is just to sort of march in place.
Yeah. He's truly the tragic hero of this movie.
Truly. And speaking of that, the other moment I was referring to earlier, where they should have like sat with that moment more to make it more dramatic, was when Zebad rips the heart out of Soldier Sam, right? That was genuinely heartbreaking for a millisecond, but then Zebad immediately went on to other things.
He doesn't have time to mourn the loss of his servant. He's evil, Jeffrey. Evil people don't mourn.
But like he should have relished it more, right? That would have, if he had relished it, which he kind of did, but a slower kind of relish would have really improved the scene.
My favorite kind of relish. Slow relish.
Can't have my hot dogs with that. That was a dumb joke.
I'm
cut that,
aware.
probably.
I'm aware. No, I mean, no, not you. I'm the one that started the joke, so it was bad to begin with. Jeffrey, usually I take great care. I go through frame by frame. I take out the buts, the ums, the whys, the whats, and I make a beautiful masterpiece. I don't think I'll do that with this episode. I think this episode will be raw, unfiltered.
This is what Doogal deserves, right? Because something that is so profoundly real, right? That speaks to themes so true, it deserves honesty from its reviewers. Yeah, and I think that just speaks to the power of the story. Anyhow,
That's the correct response. That's it. That's the correct response for Doogal.
man, Doogal, I'm trying to give you grace. I'm trying to. Art is hard to understand sometimes, okay? Sometimes you have to really sit with it. Sometimes you have to rewatch and rewatch and rewatch. And that's what the rest of this podcast is going to be. We're just going to rewatch Doogal and talk about it until we understand it. Episode after episode after episode.
Until we truly believe that it is good. It's torture. Well, here's a question for you. Because we just moved past it so quickly. What was your favorite pop culture reference?
My favorite, it has to be Pirates of the Caribbean, just for the sheer stupidity of it, right?
I do love that with their references. Sometimes they made like sense. It was like either they were making a reference to something happening in the movie, or it was like a pun. But sometimes they would just say references with no context. Like my favorite was the Matrix one, where they're in this Indiana Jones temple and all the skeletons come out of the ground. They're like, oh no, we're going to die. And then the High Rabbit is like, no, I know Kung Fu. Watch this. And he referenced the Matrix. That makes sense. Okay. He's going to fight these skeletons. And then while he's fighting it, he just says for no reason, there is no spoon. Just no setup, no reason. He just says the famous line and that's it. And it's like, what? Why?
Doesn't he name drop Neo at some point?
No, he doesn't name drop Neo. He says, I am Neo. Multiple times he says, yeah, I'm Neo. I'm in like a sentence. I'm Neo. Yep, I'm Neo. I know Krav Maga. I'm Neo. There is no spoon. I wanted to kill myself.
It's a very postmodern movie.
Stop.
Oh.
Ugh.
I mean, because like the opening tells us this is a world very much unlike our own, but apparently they have the same movies.
Oh gosh. I will say, I think if I could live in Attack on Titan or that world, I would pick Attack on Titan. I think that world is a true hell.
I think you've made that comparison before, maybe as recently as the last episode.
To Dougal and Attack on Titan?
No, I think you like said recently, man, like I wish I would live in the world of Attack on Titan over this other thing.
That's fair. I mean, I'm just saying, Attack on Titan, not a half bad world. Get to hang out with Armin, Mikasa, Levi.
Armin's the blonde with the bowl cut, right?
Yeah, he's like the Dutch boy / girl.
Yeah. I've seen season 1.
Yeah, let's talk about Attack on Titan. Let's move on from Dougal. You know, we did it. We discussed it.
I remember the first opening theme of Attack on Titan slaps. I can't recall it, but surely you would, though. There we go.
Yeah, we're gonna get copywritten. That was so good.
Yeah, it really was. We should make that into a reel.
Just be singing all these. Oh man, we should. I would start a whole secondary podcast where we just review every episode of Attack on Titan. If I had more time.
I have this equipment, right? I might as well use it.
Yeah, if you guys start following us and giving us money, I'll just quit my job and just review Attack on Titan forever. I would happily do that. The story of the episode is give us money, and we'll give you more good content like this. Jeffrey, I just want to put into perspective. When we did the episode of Super Baby Geniuses 2, my brother, a devout follower, friend of the Holy Moment podcast, he listened to it and he said, I had a lot of fun with it. It was a great time. It was really funny. But I probably couldn't do a whole lot of episodes like that. I do need most episodes with some meat and potatoes, some substance. Super Baby Geniuses 2 is like a 7-course meal compared to Doogal. There's like potatoes and rice and starches and proteins and legumes, while Doogal is half of an eaten lollipop.
I don't know. I'd have to see Baby Geniuses again.
A sentence you never thought you'd say.
No, don't make me watch it. That was horrific. But it is kind of fun to have like another movie that we can just sort of be stupid about.
Oh, I'm having a great time. Because it's come on, guys. Come on. We're reviewing movies to become better filmmakers. We're reviewing movies so you guys will watch them. We're reviewing movies to build a community of film lovers. Doogal doesn't do any of that. Doogal tears families apart.
And that's a part of the art. That's the intention.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm running this joke into the ground.
Truly.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Speaking of filmmaking, though, there was a cool bit of filmmaking, I think. When
I'm excited to hear this because I can't think of one.
There is the little canoe, the little boat that Z-Bad and Sam are in, and they pass behind an iceberg, right? And Sam, I think, is singing, 99 bottles of tea on the wall, 99 bottles of tea. And then as they go behind the iceberg, it speeds up, and then it gets dark, and then they're escaping. They're going on the other side of the iceberg. And I think it was a cool way of showing the passage of time.
Wow. That's funny because I literally saw that and went, what a shit way of showing the passage of time. What a lazy... They literally went into their software and said, man, this is boring. Let's put it on 3 times speed and just get the frick out of this scene. I legitimately remember thinking this is poorly done.
In a different context, like the voices sort of speeding up and then slowing down, right? I think that it could be done well, right?
Yeah, it could be done well. That's the whole thing about film, that you can take any idea or scene and make it garbage and do the same idea and scene and make it amazing. It's not an amazing. I don't know. I can't let anything pass. I cannot let anything besides the fight scene be called good from Doogal.
That's fair. But there is a seed of something good, and someone's going to take that and then make something beautiful out of it. Just like Freud took something small, a seed from Doogal, developed it into something greater. Tolkien took a seed from Doogal, developed it into something.
I see. This was a subtle joke. You need digital media literacy to understand Jeffrey's genius level of jokes right there.
No, but I genuinely thought that there was something a little good in it, and I'll leave it at that.
And I'll leave it
Um,
at this. I thought there was nothing good in that moment.
yeah, that's fair. That is fair. It's really hard to find anything good about Dougal, if we're being honest and frank. Is it dumb to criticize a movie as dumb as this, like in earnest, as we were doing, to like look at it through the lens of filming? 'Cause I don't think it's dumb, but I could see some people thinking that. It's like, why are you taking it so seriously? And we haven't been taking it seriously for the podcast, but like there are moments, right, when we're like, well, I mean, they could have done this to make that scene better, such as when we were discussing the opening.
I believe we got into this topic with Super Baby Geniuses too, which was one of the more real parts of that episode, which will be one of the more real parts of this episode. This podcast is helping me understand, and I truly do mean this. I do not think there's any type of movie, any type of genre, any type of topic, any type of way to express a thought or opinion in a movie that it can be done poorly. I think all genres should exist, all types of movies should exist, all formats and types of movies should exist. That's the great thing about movies. We're telling stories. The way that humans have told stories has evolved over the years, and the medium of film and moving pictures and sound and audio to tell these stories can be done in a bunch of different ways. And I love that. I think it's one of the most amazing things. I'm not going to be such a snob to say all kids' movies need to be done to the perfection that is the Miyazaki films. I will say that I think there is a higher level of storytelling and respect that can be done to the audience that is younger. I think on a majority of films, and this is like another reason I had like an issue with the Minecraft movie. I think they can be movies made for kids. And it's fine that kids love fart jokes. I'm not saying, well, as a kid, if we talked up to you, you wouldn't like a fart joke. Kids are going to like fart jokes. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm not saying we can't play to the same level as kids like jokes, but there are moments and times where to preserve the story and to respect the fact that children are capable of emotions and critical thinking, not as much as an adult, obviously, but they are. We don't have to spoon feed everything to them. I just feel like there's a higher level of story that can be told if we don't speak down to the audience. And this doesn't go for kid movies. This is my big issue with most blockbuster films. This is my issue with the Superman movie that we reviewed, like new one, the James Gunn one. It ultimately speaks down to the audience with its storytelling. I don't need every movie to be as nuanced and complicated as certain films. Again, there's time and place for everything, but I think there's just a certain, like, at the heart of every movie should be the story, and the story should respect its audience. Can still have a fart joke in there, but there's a certain level of respect that needs to have towards the intellectualness of a human being. And I just feel like Dougal didn't have that. Could you have this fun, weird, campy, odd, bizarre movie with some good jokes and some decent references? I'm fine with a few pulp culture references, yes. But ultimately, the story was so bland and the characters were so and there's just like there's no point, there's no moral. Like I that's a good question. At the end of the day, most kids' movies have a lesson, have something driving it home. We were told this story in film school. The director, the person who was behind Monsters University, was having a really hard time figuring out the story and getting it greenlit. He kind of kept going back to the drawing board, going back to the drawing board. And then finally one day, I can't remember if he realized this or someone told him this, but he was like, yeah, I was working on the script and it dawned on me this is a story about parenthood, fatherhood, because apparently while he was making the story, he had just become a new father for the first time. He had his first kid. And he realized he was writing the story and it's like, wait, this is really about the journey of a parent. And so these movies can have these deeper themes, these deeper stories and contexts. And just Dougal has no moral. So I guess that's my question for you, Jeffrey. Like, what is the moral of Dougal? What's the theme, the story, the point?
Yeah, I think I think that the idea that they were getting at, it was supposed to be Dougal's character arc of going from selfish to selfless. I don't think that was communicated well because I think that from beginning to end he's still very selfish. But, you know, he talks about making right his actions, right? And making up for all of the damage that he has caused. And so there is a sense in which he's trying to take ownership of what he's done, his role in it, right? I could see that being his arc, selfish to selfless. But he's just not particularly likable and he doesn't do much. And yeah, I agree with you. I think that kids deserve good things. Exactly. It doesn't have to be a seven course meal. But I think that art is formative. And I think that if you expose kids to good things, not just in the sense of like, oh, morally good, but beautiful things, that's going to affect them in ways that are positive and that like builds them up emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, right? Just being exposed to beautiful things, to good quality storytelling. Yeah, and I don't know how well this movie does that.
I mean, I fully agree with you. Like the idea of like Dougal's character arc, and also you could argue like friends banding together, the power of friendship. It just like didn't have any of those cohesive story moments. Dougal was a selfish prick at the beginning of the movie, and he was a selfish prick by the end. And you even had that like really weird moment where you thought this was like the turning point. Like this was him at his most narcissistic, where they just got like the second gym and they're on to the no, they got the first gym, they're on their way to the second gym, and it's at nighttime, so it's reflective. They're in the airboat, everything's still. And Dougal's like, I really miss Florence. I hope she's doing okay. She's probably not because she needs me. She needs me to exist. When there's a thunderstorm, she lets me on the bed to hang out with her. She needs me to lick her face and make her feel confident. I get maybe the subtlety was like he's lying to himself, but like there's no payoff with that. So that just makes him feel like even more of a shitty person. But he's not a person, he's a dog.
Yeah, I think the subtext that was supposed to be there was, oh yeah, like he's saying these things. She needs me for this, but in reality, it's like, oh, like he needs her, right? Just as much, if not more, than she needs him, and he's just not coming out and saying it. But I mean, yeah, like it doesn't get a satisfactory resolution, and so the movie ends up being kind of pointless.
It does feel like a big pointless journey. The person that went on the biggest character arc was Sam the Soldier, and he freaking gets killed at the end and then imprisoned for all of eternity to guard his god that brought him to life that then abused him.
Yeah.
Rip Sam.
Justice for Sam. I genuinely enjoyed Sam. I also genuinely enjoy Bill Hader, right? As an actor, as a comedian. Have you seen Barry?
No, my old roommate would watch it, and I would catch it in the background and think this looks good, but I've not watched it.
Yeah, I've seen season 1 and part of season 2. Genuinely good. It's as like an actor, right? As someone that enjoys learning about acting and acting theory, it's particularly fun to watch because he is attending acting classes, right? And receiving instruction that is in some like ways good, in other ways laughably bad. And so, yeah, I think you'd enjoy watching it, but that's just a tangent, right? Barry is derivative of Dougal, but anyhow, but that just about does. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about? This is gonna be a short episode, maybe.
Hey, I mean, we're at 53 minutes. We still got to do our shenanigans of the outro. So I mean, hey, last episode was The Great Escape, and we felt like we did a really good job, and that was only 58 minutes. That's one of our shortest episodes. Anything else I want to say about Dougal rather than getting the heck out of here? No, I'm kidding. You mentioned last episode when we were wrapping up The Great Escape and we rolled the wheel, we got Dougal, and I mentioned, I wonder what the animation is going to be like. Is it going to be Uncanny Valley? And you said, no, it's animals. It can't be Uncanny Valley. Well, you're a liar and a piece of garbage. Because guess what? There are humans in it, but also the animals, still uncanny. The cow, when they narrated, and this is the cow, I said, that person's never seen a cow before. Or that person's blind, because that ain't no cow. The penis slug, need I say more? Dougal somehow looks like he got stepped on and then like kicked across a barbershop floor. He was like a turd that got stepped on and then rolled in hair and had teeth
And he
that were
has
human teeth.
He has human teeth. I think that scene near the end, or the shot near the end, where he spikes the camera and smiles at me, I flinched, right? I jumped in my seat. That's gonna give me nightmares. I don't understand how it didn't give me nightmares that first watch through when I was like 6 or 7, right? Maybe I just blocked that memory out because it was so utterly horrific. But
Hear me out. Attack on Titan, munching Aaron's mom, giant Dougal human teeth, munching Aaron's mom. Dougal. Okay. I can't. But yeah, the animation, horrifying. Unless we're talking about the 45-second against Zimbabwe and Zimbabwe. That was awesome.
I love those names. Oh, that's crazy.
Those are the historically correct names of those two
Yeah,
characters.
canonically. Yeah, that's what it was in the British version.
Silly British people. But anything else I want to talk about? What do you think the babies of Brian the penis slug and whatever the heck the cow's name was?
Ermintrude. Yeah. What do they look like? I don't know. I think that it's the kind of baby that I think it just has to like be born dead.
It's the Eraserhead baby.
Oh yeah.
That actually is that's kind of accurate. It's kind of is the Eraserhead baby. Also, this is okay. My first real commentary of the entire episode. Why? This is like one of those comments of like, it doesn't happen often, but for how often it happened, I would have 2 nickels. Why is it that every animated cow character is a over-the-top female black voice actor? I have no issue with that. Not a problem. Just like every animated cow is always I'm a sassy big black woman. Like what? Why?
I'm actually very curious if she is black in the British version. All right, so she's only black in the American version.
Okay, well there we go. That's it. We need to go to the British.
I think it's a uniquely American phenomenon.
I think it's because like cows are often animated cows are southern. And I think when they think southern and they're cows, so they're bigger, I think they think of a big personality. And so I think they go, that's the way they
go
voice
with the
it.
stereotype. Yeah.
Which is it's just fascinating that's like a weird stereotype to exist.
Yeah, because like Home on the Range.
Yep, that's the only one I can think of.
Home
But
on the Range?
no, Home on the Range and what? There was a movie and then there was a long-running TV. I'm not long-running, but 2 or 3 seasons of an animated TV. The Backyard? Barnyard. Yes, the Barnyard.
Barnyard.
Surely
I
there's a
love that
black
movie.
cow woman there.
I think there is. But like, to be fair, there are a lot of cows in that movie.
You know who they're all played by?
Whoopi Goldberg.
I don't know. But okay, that's it. That's all I have to say about Doogal. That's it. I'm done. I've said my thoughts.
What's your holy moment? What was the moment that like really just tickled your heartstrings?
Okay. This is a real one. When that fight scene happened, I was like, this has to be the holy moment. But then something amazing happened about 2/3 of the way through the movie. About 2/3 of the way through the movie, I stopped giving a shit, and I was so deadly bored that I started thinking about anything else. And my thought process was, this is a movie that was one of those movies that was locked in a core memory that I barely remembered, and I finally found it out what it was when I was 26. What other movies exist like that? And so I started thinking, and there are 2. One is so faint that I think I'll never find it. All I can vaguely remember is there is a Lego bird who's big, and I think the Lego bird is bad, and there might be people who are on the Lego bird. That's it. Maybe there's a coconut. That's all I got. I'll never know what that is. Email me at theholymomentpodcast@gmail.com, please, if you know what I'm talking about. But the other one, I remembered a little more. So I thought I was going to be able to put it into Google and find it really easily. I remember there's a carousel. The animals on the carousel came to life, and they were like jungle animals. The main one was a panda bear, and there was this weird green alligator villain that like held them hostage or something. And I was like, that's a lot of it. That's some specific information. I'll find it. Could not find it through Google. Typed it in, went to Reddit, went to Google Images, nothing. So then I went to AI. This is like whatever your thoughts may be on AI, AI is the best for this. So I gave it the information. Like, hey, what is the show? It's like, hey, I can't find anything. If you want, I can look through these websites more thoroughly. I was like, yeah, do that. And we went on like this 10-minute journey of like, no, I still can't find anything. Okay, search here. Finally, I found a Reddit post that described exactly what I was describing. The only thing the Reddit post added was that it was a Christian story. And I was like, that sounds right. Like, yeah, that makes sense to what I grew up in. It was probably Christian. And so with that, it was like, hey, let me scrub all these small Christian publishing that probably did like just VHS straight to home video in the early 2000s. And so it scrubbed it. And finally, it found it. It found GNU Zoo, The Search for the Great White Tiger. And after I finished Doogal, I found that 45-minute YouTube video and I watched it. And it was upsetting and horrifying and terrifying to watch. And it was amazing. And that is a 26-year-old journey that I've been trying to figure out. I guess 20-year journey, because I watched it when I was like 4 or 5. And So yeah, my holy moment of Doogal was the fact that it helped me find another movie that I long last forgot I had.
Wow. Maybe we'll watch that movie
No,
for the next
please.
season of the
I
podcast.
can't.
I'll
I
make it my
can't.
dealer's choice.
There's like some deep trauma connected to that movie that I don't have the desire to unpack in front of humans.
That is so fair in front of humans. That's an interesting addendum. But no, okay, so my holy moment would say, okay, but then it did something that really shocked me. Like near the end of the movie, if you like paid attention, if you stuck around long enough, they do this thing where like text appears and then it starts scrolling down, right? And I just thought, what a fascinating artistic decision. This might, in fact, be my favorite thing that I've seen from this movie, right?
Come on, you can't tell me your holy moment wasn't that fight scene.
Oh yeah, it was the fight scene. It was cool.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's so easy to point to the fight scene. Just unequivocally, like a weirdly cool, like as a 26-year-old, I was like, this kind of badass. What the heck? This is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
I'm
credits.
so looking forward to that AMV. That AMV is gonna hit so hard. I'm gonna send you.
Yeah, what
'cause
song should I
there's-
use?
Okay, there's a song that I think it's called Unravel that they use for.
Nice.
Are you familiar with the song?
Is it Linkin Park?
I don't know if it's Linkin Park. I think it might be.
Just because I feel like it has to be Linkin. If it's an AMV, all good AMVs are Linkin Park.
Maybe, but there's this really shittily animated video on YouTube. It's like Big Chungus versus Shaggy Ultra Instinct, and then like a me shows up, and then Shrek also joins the fight. And it's weirdly like a well executed fight scene, but it's done to this music that's like Japanese, and it feels like
It's the Tokyo Ghoul intro song, Unravel.
could we do that?
Is it?
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Man, Holy Moment podcast fans are eating today with my singing of songs. Absolutely lapping it up.
All of our reels are just you singing. All of them.
I will certainly look into it.
All right. Sweet. Well, with that being said, folks, thank you for joining us in today's episode of the Holy Moment podcast. If you have any deep thoughts or analysis, just like things that this movie made you feel that you want just out of your chest and perhaps out of your mind forever, maybe, give it to us at the Holy Moment podcast, and we will read your emails. We will read them privately and on the podcast. You can find us at the Holy Moment Podcast at gmail.com. We also post reels on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, even. So y'all older folks out there who are listening to us, all the boomers.
All the boomers
then
love Doogal and its Christian values.
Why wouldn't they?
What's not to love?
Yeah. And then, of course, we post our episodes on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you again, everyone. We love you, and good night.
I have to roll the next movie, Jeffrey. Where are you going?
Oh, fuck. Pardon my French, folks. This has not been a good episode for me, swear-wise.
What are you talking? Yeah, this is an amazing episode. Okay, can I roll my wheel?
Yeah, I give you permission.
Very good. All right. Again, folks, we pick 6 categories every season, and we get to pick movies for those categories. Here we go. Let's spin that wheel. Let's see what we're gonna watch next week. I'd love to watch. I'm pretty much down for anything besides Emmanuel. It's a documentary, and I would like to watch it in the future, just maybe not next week. So it's spinning, it's going in a circle, and it's landing on. Oh, okay. Hey, not upset about that. This movie is probably my most like Nathaniel type enjoyment movie, and of course we are doing Memento, and this is for the category movie crush. And the reason I'm blinking is because I'm trying to remember the actress's name. So when I was thinking movie crush, I immediately went to like Katara from Avatar: Last Airbender, and she's a famous voice actor, so she's been quite a bit. But then I decided to go something more live action. I went with, I believe it's Carrie Forrest Foster. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. The she played Trinity in The Matrix. I was like 13 when I first saw the movie. This badass woman with short hair and all like BDSM, like black spandex. Awesome. So that was a childhood crush. But I didn't want to do The Matrix yet. It's my favorite movie of all time. I want to save that for a later season. But she apparently was in Memento, and it's one of the very last few Christopher Nolan movies I have to watch. So I'm super stoked. I love Christopher Nolan, love his movies, and so I'm really excited to watch this next week. So we'll be watching Memento for childhood crush.
That's exciting. Yeah, I've heard of it, never seen it.
Oh,
I've never
really?
seen The Matrix either. So this will be my first Trinity movie I've seen.
Good. You're in for a treat. I assume maybe. But yeah. Before you end us out of the podcast, I think I have to say what's all on our minds. Yes, even the Holy Moment podcast, the pinnacle of art, and where all big brain thoughts are said, it was derived from Doogal.
Oh, for sure. We both had the core memory, and that set us down on this path.
On this filmmaking, but you're so right. If we didn't watch Doogal, if that like etched of two hot gumballs wasn't in my brain, I never would have gone to film school. You're so correct.
Yeah, like you would have been an accountant, and I would have been dead in a ditch somewhere.
It's funny because my dad's an accountant, so maybe. Is your dad dead in a ditch somewhere?
Nah, he's living his best life as a retired man.
Nice. What an underwhelming way to end the podcast.
Good night and goodbye.
Thank God.